really want to take that zero out and paint it.
Yeah. Well, what do you
Can't
think
take
about
credit.
this? What do you think about this game?
I like it. I think, I mean, those that want to take a break from playing games like PUBG, it's like it doesn't seem like it's too far off from that. I mean, I, that might sound kind of weird, but um, there's
Well, I
no
mean,
the
it's a.
storyline is a little, you know,
Well, I mean, if you're trying to compare it to PUBG, what do you mean? Talking
I
about?
guess just the artwork. I guess it seems a lot
Mm-hmm.
like PUBG, not so much the gameplay. I guess. I mean, gameplay's kind of a little bit like PUBG as far as being able to equip things and attach them. It's a lot like PUBG, but um, I guess the storyline could this it could use a little bit of help as far as you know.
Yeah, there's definitely not much of a story. That's for sure.
It's a fun game. It's exciting, taking stuff on, and it's like they just took the whole loot and shoot thing and just based everything off of that, which is fun. You know, it's kind of like PUBG. It's fun to an extent, but after so long, you burn out. You have to take a break. I mean,
Yeah.
it's good. It could use some other elements, a lot more elements that could have. You know, I see why it's 3 out of 5 stars. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's
Well, I mean,
enjoyable.
plus I mean, we only paid what $17 for it, so
Yeah, $17 for it is just could have. I don't know. They could have given it a little bit more love and probably done a lot more with the game.
yeah.
So, maybe I was asking too much, but it just seems you would I don't know, it'd throw you a little bit more of a bone of some kind of
Well, one thing
uh,
I'll definitely say is the some of the audio is
quirky.
yeah, yeah, it's definitely that. Um, and for some reason, every now and then we'll be playing and I'll just hear like a sound, and it's just for a
Yeah.
split second. And at first I thought it was my headphones, but then it kept happening so much, and I started moving, my
Oh no,
my
it's not
headphone
just you.
cable and everything. And then that's
Yeah.
why I was asking you if you could hear it, because I was definitely
Uh,
hearing it, and but just stuff like that, you
it
know.
almost seems like I don't know if that almost might be a part of the game. It almost seems.
That's what I was thinking too. I was thinking that like maybe for some reason it was, like you're being trying to like they're trying to hack into your system. I guess,
Yeah,
but see that
system.
don't make sense though either, because you're not wearing. It's not like you're wearing headsets in the game.
Yeah.
So
It's like I just thought it might be something to kind of throw a little extra spice into freaking you out a little bit. I mean, it's not a freaky game by any means.
yeah, and it does seem. Have you noticed anything? So we got audio. If you were gonna, I mean, other than that, other than the little, you know, the the little
Glitch.
glitches. Yeah, the little glitch. What would you think the audio? I mean, how does like the gun sound to you, and the rockets and the explosions, like all that good
Uh,
stuff?
Rating
Just
all
overall.
of those overall rating those things. I mean, you got audio for as far as the soundtrack audio is, pretty awesome. I'd give it a 4 out of 5. I mean, it's almost like Stranger Things. The
Yeah, that's
gun
not bad.
audio is it's good. Can't complain with that. I mean, the gun system and everything, I guess, kind of is where it really excels in the loot and shoot. So I mean, everything there, even audio wise, is gonna be good. But that's what's really holding the game up on a higher category for that, which is holding up the whole game really. But the other audio problems, seems like maybe a two. Like you're having like it seems like a two because I don't know if it's a part of the game or if it's just
Yeah,
some kind of glitch. But that plays in. But um, that
I think
and
all around though, as far as like the atmosphere, like the rain effects and the walking. I mean, it's nothing that's gonna blow your mind. Like, oh my god, this
yeah,
audio sounds so amazing. But Like when the guns are firing, when you hear the robots running around, you hear the stomps, you hear the
It
explosions. It
that
sounds
all
right. You know what I mean?
sounds right. It does, but
But it's not gonna
it
blow you
almost
away.
it there is in this game there is no as far as audio, there's no moments of just like excitement, I guess. There's nothing where the music pumps up or anything like that whenever something you're in a crazy
Yeah.
battle or something. It doesn't like you would think if you're getting into a big fight,
Well,
and
the
you want
music
it,
does start up, but it's just not very.
it's all
It's
the
not.
music
Yeah.
sound the whole music soundtrack is doom and gloom. That's the whole. It doesn't ever change. Even if you win, it might give you. It's not going to give you like a. It's not going to. It's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, I know
Stays
what
with the
you're saying.
whole
It's
doom
just
and
not
gloom
super.
thing.
Yeah, it's not super like epic or upbeat. Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Like okay, you just took down two of these big machines. Like
Yeah.
soundtrack doesn't ever just change to like just in the slightest to make you feel like you did something great.
Yeah. What would you think about the what about the graphics?
Uh, Graphics aren't horrible. They're not bad. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and compare everything to PUBG. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just as good or better than PUBG. But I
They just
mean,
seem pretty efficient. Like,
they seem efficient.
yeah.
Um,
I have noticed
there
one
is
thing though. Have you noticed the way that the character models look whenever they're running? Like whenever you're looking at somebody else's character model.
no. I've
You need to
tried not to.
pay attention next time because like when they're running, the characters running, it almost looks like someone like straight like a invisible hand is just straightening out their back and they're just running like just picking up their legs and putting them down. It's hard to explain. But
Really.
they look real stiff whenever they're running. It's almost like just their knees are moving. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's almost like a cartoon
I,
run.
yeah. I know what you mean. And a lot of that might do with my connection. Some I don't know, but I mean, I've
No, it's not
noticed.
that. It's just I think it's the way the character models are. This is the thing, man. I'm not sure who made this game. I haven't. I mean, I guess I could look it up real quick. But I don't think it was an American company, which has nothing. That's not. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just that
Yeah.
American companies tend to be. It's not a AAA title. I don't think. I think it's maybe a
No.
AAA title somewhere else. But I don't think it's a AAA title over here. I'm actually about to look it up because I'm probably wrong.
You
It
know,
probably is like a
and
freaking American made game.
even if it was dubbed, I mean, it still wouldn't be. It's just I don't know. I just feel like the content still wouldn't grab me as much as I would hope it would.
Okay, yeah, it was made in New Zealand. No. Oh crap! That's a real Generation Zero thing. Hang on. Okay. Avalanche. No, Avalanche Studios made it.
What?
Yeah.
Really? It just seems
I don't think it
unfinished.
was. Well, I don't think it was ever a AAA game.
It's like they made the game so big. I mean, it's a big map. I mean, we haven't even got halfway through the map. But I don't know. There's just doesn't seem like anybody wants to pick it back up and fix it.
Well, it says Avalanche Studios is a AAA developer. Apparently, I know I heard that name, but it doesn't seem. I don't know. It. I mean, we probably put what 8 hours into it.
I don't know. Probably. Well, I put about 12.
And like you said, I think that they went mainly with the size of the map
It's
and
just
scale and
s-
everything.
scale, size of the map, and the loot and shoot is pretty much the whole thing this game has to offer.
Yeah,
And the fact that you can get awesome guns and take on giant machines that I mean, we hadn't got halfway there through it, so I'm sure the machines are going to get a lot tougher. It's fun going to take on giant machines, and when you got your other ground units that you have to take out, and eventually you're going to need a full team almost to be able to take out I'm assuming a whole horde of these things.
yeah, you
We've
can
kind of had a lot of we've had a lot of advantage points, and it almost seems like you can take advantage of I want to say glitches
Mm-hmm.
because it seems to be a lot, especially with them trying to use these giant robots.
Yeah. I guess the reason to me, like I said, graphically it looks fine. You know, it's definitely passable. But to me, I guess maybe it is a AAA title. It's made by Avalanche Studios, so I guess it technically is a AAA title. But I guess for me, the reason it doesn't feel like a standard AAA, it feels more like a right under a AAA. You know, like not quite there. Like they maybe didn't put. It feels sort of
Yeah,
unfinished in a way. Like
yeah,
maybe they were going for, it's just weird to me that there's no. I mean, because the thing is, the world's interesting. Like you could have an interesting story if you wanted to, you know, but that's not in there. And like I said, some things with like the character models, the way they move, they look okay. It just looks fine, I guess.
yeah.
You know
It's
what I'm
just
saying? Like
average.
it's fine. Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not amazing. I mean, it could be better. It could be a lot better. Even as much as I think the loot shoot system's fun, the loot could be actually better. I mean,
Yeah.
everything's a backpack, and if
Well,
it's
and
not a
there's
backpack, it's a crate or
yeah. And you can tell too. There's a lot of reused assets. Like there's a lot of houses you go into that you've been into before. You know what I'm
oh yeah,
saying?
they're all the same remake and
Yeah,
just copy
pretty
and
much.
paste.
That's I guess that's why to me it has the feel of a cheaper, a slightly cheaper game than a full on AAA game. Which maybe like I said, it's the map's big. I mean, it's got a big map on it. But that's like even the enemies so far. The only difference, the only reason you're fighting a harder enemy is their color, basically. Which they do
Right?
look a little different. They look like they have an added gun, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Um, so that's nice. But
It's
it's
not just
just
exactly
it's
like if you're. It's not
yeah.
like playing WoW, where characters are just different colors. That means they're stronger. I mean, there are a few different attachments.
So graphically,
Uh,
from your just and honest opinion, this is how we'll just do it graphically. If you were
Graphically,
gonna rate it on a scale of one, we'll do the sub ratings like 1 to 5. So if you're gonna give it a 1 to 5 out of the games you've played and you've seen, what would you say that graphically it is for you
graphically,
personally? There's no wrong
for,
answer.
for me personally, it's I'll give it some negative and some positive points. Um, Honestly, the positive points are gonna be the whole you're having your own character, and I mean, you can't really select a whole lot of characters, but being
Mm-hmm.
able to customize them really is a neat factor. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
a 3.5 stars.
Just points. We're not doing half points, so just three. You can go with 3 or a 4 if you just had to say. Which I think
Maybe a
either
four.
one.
I
Yeah.
might would give it a four. It's not so much the imagery, the graphics are good. It's like you said, the characters
Mm-hmm.
could they have a few glitches, and that's what
Yeah.
holds it back a lot. Like they start running, and that's kind of what holds it back a little bit. But maybe I give it a four. Four as far as graphically.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go. It's weird because the graph. It's not bad, but it's not great. And I think a lot of that, and it is the way that the game, I guess, is. It's the way that it is in that like kind of like that dark setting, like like for example the color palette, like there's not a lot of range of colors in this game. You know what I mean? Like you pretty
Yeah.
much are kind of they're going with that drab sort of, post-apocalyptic kind of feel, especially at night. But even during the day, like the colors don't pop or nothing. Which, I mean,
Yeah.
graphically, that's not that. That I guess it has to do with your graphics
Yeah.
because it does make a difference visually what you're looking at. So for me, that kind of holds it back a little bit. I think maybe a little more color would have been okay. Um, and so I mean, for me, I'd give it probably a 3 graphically.
Yeah.
But I
Personally,
will say that the 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 enemy character models, they move really really well. Like the little dog things and the
those they do
robots, yeah,
the
they move well. But for some reason, the when you watch the character models of your teammates, they're real stiff. But what's funny at the same time, your gun models are pretty average. Like they're not bad, they're not great, but the gun models, like your hands, the way they move, it's pretty good. It's solid. You know, it feels
yeah.
right when you're playing. So it's just weird that they kind of, for it to be a co-op game, didn't focus more on, you know, making the other character models look a little bit better.
Right. I'd say graphics 4, but the copy and paste system drops down to like a 2 for me. Like it really bothers me.
Oh yeah, you're talking about
It,
the
it,
reuse of assets, like the
yes, it's annoying almost. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, people like me, it's not a super big deal because I love just looting and shooting. But I mean, uh,
some variety
for
wouldn't
so
hurt.
long, it's like throw something different in there. I mean, like after the first few hours, you've got it down pat. I mean, change it up a little bit wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. Well, that's like I was saying earlier when we were playing. I was saying I've gotten to where I can guess where the little bitty robots are going to be, like because I recognize the houses so often. Like I know where they're going to be sitting when I'm right here.
Yeah,
You know, I know where to
yeah.
aim my gun.
And it's annoying too because the game promotes you doing the same thing over and over again so that you can get because everything's so randomized. Don't get me wrong, you're not
Mm-hmm.
going to get like an amazing gun off to get to start with, but as far as getting like
It's
stuff for
promoted to
your
loot. Yeah.
character, stuff for your character is randomized, but it's like you're not going to get different stuff unless you just keep looting even the small stuff, and
Yeah.
which is annoying.
You know what I just thought would be crazy? Well, we can get
So
to just remind me. We'll get to it after we get done talking about the game specifically. But I just thought about an awesome idea that would be fantastic if somebody would do it. Maybe this was a test run for that. But anyway, um, so story we already talked about. There's basically no story. I mean, there is, but it's not a traditional story. You're not going to get a cut scene. You're not going to get to introduce who your character
uh,
is or what they.
e-
It's just going to be like a Star Wars thing where you read off. You know, you're going to read
yeah,
off
like
what's going on, and then
you're
you
gonna
can.
read off the lore of the
Yeah.
situation, but I mean, even if it was dubbed, it still wouldn't.
Well, and the problem is it's not interesting. It doesn't like, and what they want you to do is when you pick up those notes and stuff is read like
Into it.
into it. Yeah, then that's where you get your lore from or what you're doing. But the problem is you just don't care to. Like you got to be
Especially
invested in the story to read it. Like when I play The Witcher 3, for example, like I will sit there and read that stuff because I'm actually invested in what's going
yeah,
on. Like I care, you know. But if I don't care, I'm just gonna be like, I'm just trying to get from point A to point B. And to me, man, like I know a lot of people like loot games and shoot games and run around mindlessly and don't worry about anything, just go and do your thing or whatever. But for me personally, like I don't like just moving from point A to point B mindlessly. Like I like to actually have
yeah,
a reason that I'm on that journey. You know what I mean?
exactly. Like, oh, we got to get to this next town. They gotta. There's a reason why we're going to this next town, which brings a great point to this whole thing. It's like a first time having a game like this for me. That's like they intended for you to read that stuff, like as if you were playing Morrowind, and to read into stuff like that. But it's almost impossible for a four-player co-op loot and shoot to put that in there because who has time to do that whenever you're just trying to loot and catch
Yeah.
up with everybody else? It's
Well, that's why it's so important to have your structured story and cutscenes, really,
yeah,
because that slows everything down. You know. But but yeah. So the story, I mean, obviously 1 out of 5 on the story is what, a one.
one,
Yeah,
yeah.
honestly,
Honestly,
a one for me.
honestly,
I don't
yeah,
even know what's going on. I just know that I don't know. I'm just there and I'm fighting robots apparently. and that's my goal in life. I don't like robots, so they all got to die.
Exactly. I mean, I don't even understand what's the deal with us having to hit up so many bunkers. It's we lost interest in that after the first two,
Yeah,
and it's
during the
like,
first one, you heard what I said. I was like, dude, they could have sized this bunker down. The bunker
yeah,
was too big. I mean, man, maybe other people will feel differently, but to me, that bunker is just too. It's just not interesting enough, you know.
no,
Like if I was in it, like if there was somebody I was going there to see if they're alive, right? Like there was a cut scene and it shows them flee into that bunker, and as you're going through, there's like bodies or whatever, and you're just maybe you're because then you're wondering like, is anybody left? So you want to keep looking to see if anybody's. It's just something like that
yeah,
to keep you to help retain your attention and make you care. But when you're just going through there because you got to flip on a switch to get the generator up and there's an enemy around every corner. It's like I don't even care. I'm just running through here to find the stupid button that I got to push.
yeah. And you do
And
it
then you
for
get
an hour or
lost.
so.
Yeah,
You do it for an hour or so, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to do five more exactly like that." And you're like, "No, well, I'm
yeah.
not going to do
It's
that
very.
again."
That's what I was gonna say. Everything is too. It's too. It's too plain.
It's a chore.
What
It's almost like a
and
chore.
everything is like think about the bunker. Think about how plain everything was. Walls, maybe some boxes here or there, some shelving, but you know, no signs of a struggle, no blood, no like nothing. Everything's so clean in the world. Like there's not that we haven't came across one human being.
There was
Now,
only one moment in the game where there was any
well, yeah, no, we
show of like
have,
that.
yeah, we have come across humans out in the road, but think about it in the bunker. I don't think we did. I don't think we came across one person. And you would think that
No,
if they're getting
you never.
attacked by freaking robots, that's the first. I mean, they would tell everybody to go to the bunker. You know what I'm
I mean,
like?
it
That's where they would
almost
hold
seems like
out at the end.
every time you get to an area, it almost seems like you were just like a few hours short of getting there in time. But everywhere you go, there's nothing. I mean, you would
It's
think that you
weird,
would.
yeah. I don't know if that was by design, just to make it feel empty. I don't know, but it's weird. But like the
It's
only time you
annoying
see
because,
bodies or anything or signs of fights or outside
like, did you
on the
notice at the
roads.
beginning of the game, whenever you first started and you went to the first house, which was your house, the
Mm-hmm.
upstairs had like it looks like somebody was like drug off the top of the side of the railing.
Yeah.
That was like the only like inch of like, okay, these people can't be too far away. It's like
Hmm.
somebody was rushing to get out of here,
Yeah.
Um, it, I honestly at this point, even like maybe being 30% in the game, you're like, I honestly don't know if I really don't think that they'll ever see anybody else in the game as far as the NPC.
I don't even know if I would care at this point. Like
Um,
if we ran across like a living town, I don't even know if I would care because
no,
I've just
it's
already gotten numb to it. You know what I mean?
it really is. I mean,
I've gotten
I
used
mean,
to no one being around.
as much as I hate to say it, I mean, it's just kind of the game's turned me against it. It kind of makes me want to just forget all the underlying aspects they want you to do and just try to go hit all the hard stuff,
Hmm.
loot all the hard bosses, go to the main areas, don't go too far into the main areas,
Yeah.
and try to clear out what you can on what the fun stuff is, and
Yeah.
that's all
It's
it has
definitely
to give you. Then
it's definitely a looter shooter based game for sure. I mean, that's the definitely the heavy focus. But I mean, even with us, you know, figuring that out and knowing that by playing it doesn't excuse. You know what I'm saying? Like you can still have issues with it because I mean these are like I said the story is a pretty big issue on it. But so story, yeah, I would give a one. So
yeah.
what would you say the replay value of this of it is? Like if you're
Now that's a
if
different
I,
story.
well, okay, hold on, hear me out now. I'm not talking about replay value as in like getting on just whenever you feel like it and be like, okay, I can start from here, which we'll talk about. That's actually a nice thing about the game. I'm talking about whenever you finish it, right?
Yeah.
If you finish it, could you come back to it in like 2 months and start all the way over, or 6 months and start all the way over?
No, I wouldn't start all the way over. At least I don't think I would.
Yeah,
I do see that there is an expansion right now, but which is this game was on sale recently for $17. I seen an expansion for like $35 right now, and I'm just like, no, I don't think I could. I couldn't pay that much for an expansion for this game. This game almost seems like it should be on Game Pass right now, uh, for its own sake.
Yeah, I think that would really help it. Honestly,
Um,
I think
because
that would get.
I don't see people unless this game goes really cheap. I don't see people playing it. I wouldn't spend $40 for it.
No, no, it's definitely yeah. Um, so replayability in that sense, I would yeah, I wouldn't recommend. I
I wouldn't
wouldn't
recommend it.
expect to. I wouldn't expect to beat this game. And if I put like 30 hours in it, I'm not expecting to beat this game in 30 hours. And then, once I finish it 6 months later, come back and be like, you know what? I want to start over. I don't think
Wouldn't
I
start
would do
over.
that.
I feel as though that it would be something you could jump back into, but not to restart over. Maybe just say, hey, let's just jump on here. Let's play. Hey, you ever play this game? Check it out with me. We'll play a four-player
Yeah.
co-op or something, and I'll show you what it's about. And people get to the experience to fight giant robots and a pack a herd of robots, which is fun. But I just think that that's all this game has to offer is just the co-op and
The co op is
looter
what holds it
shooter
up.
and
Yeah.
looter shooter co-op and the fact that you're taking on hordes of robots that are quite tactically fun to fight.
Yeah.
And
They
that's
are
about
fun to
it.
shoot. Yeah.
That's
So that
about it.
definitely helps. Yeah. One thing I will say about it though, as far as replayability, I guess since this would, I guess what I'm about to say is on the topic is that one thing that's nice about it that I've noticed, which we've only played what two sessions now, probably. So we put
Yeah.
like about you put 12 hours in it. I'll probably put 8 to 10. Probably about 8 hours is probably what I put in. But what I can say pretty safely is that this is a game that you can play like how like me and you are the only two people that play it that we know, right? And
Right.
then I can go play something else. Like I played Destiny a few nights ago. It's the type of game that you can play and then come back in like a week and get back on your character and start playing again.
Right.
Yeah, I can barely hear you now.
Sorry, I had to mess with my set a little bit. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's a little bit better. But yeah, yeah. It's to me, it's one of those games like you can just put down for a few days, pick back up, and you're not gonna be overwhelmed. Like you're not gonna be completely lost. You're gonna be okay with doing that. Some games are
Yeah.
it's hard to do that with. So
It's not like it's not like you're gonna be lost playing this, jumping back into it. You just where are we at on the map? Okay, because everything's such a copy and paste. What's it? It's not gonna hurt. You're not gonna lose. You're just gonna okay. Let's just find our next objective. Now, comparing it though to other games though, um, I have to give it some bonus points though, because there is just a lot of garbage out there right now, just that's thrown on to where people can play. That just has no story, has no just nothing fun about a lot of these games nowadays. Um, no depth. This game just seems like it has a lot of content to a lot of the map's huge. There's a lot to do. A lot to play on. Just I mean, it just doesn't seem there's a whole lot of games like this being put out right now. I mean, there's just
oh no, it's
so many.
yeah, it's got its own thing. It is unique. It's I guess we'll go ahead and get to I guess like final verdicts. So like if you were gonna put a number on the game from 1 to 10, whole numbers, and I'm not talking. We're not just so anybody's watching this. We're not talking about release. We're talking about as we played it right now, which was when did we start this? December, the week of Christmas, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Games have been out for a long time.
Yeah. So game's been out for a while, and we just hopped on it. Been playing on Xbox One X, and so these are our impressions of the game as it is now, not at launch. But because I do know that at launch it definitely apparently has some issues. So, but anyways, so if you're gonna put a number on it, what would you put it at? Okay, so 1 being terrible, 5 being average, 10 being perfect, and I mean there's you know I
I
you
give
know
it a
a
6.
lot of people say you can't make a perfect game, so nothing can have a 10. But my if I start doing these, my rating thing may be more 10, as in like for what I've played in the past and what I'm playing in that time frame.
Yeah.
How good is the like? That's kind of maybe how I do ratings or whatever. But anyways, see what did you say?
I mean, I'm enjoying the game, but it's probably like around a 6.
Round of six.
Seven, 7 on a good. I mean, it's 7. I want to give it a 7, but
Well, I mean, if that's what you
um,
feel like. I mean, if that's what you're feeling.
I would give it. I'll give it a 7 just because of the co-op ability, being able to play 4 people all in the same group, being able to customize your character. Just having a good time. I'd give it at
Mm-hmm.
least a 7. I mean, it has its quirks. I really wish they would have done some more stuff with this game because it'd have been great. It's exactly what people want. I mean, people love games love like series like it reminds me a lot of Stranger Things as far as the soundtrack, and
Yeah, the setting and the the
stuff like
time
that. I
frame
mean,
and all that good
in your
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, time frames in the '80s, your characters from the '80s, all these things people are in love with right now, and I'm one of them. I just wish they would have done more with it. They could have made a better game. It's still a fun game. I enjoy it. I'd love to have, at least 4 of us playing it. It'd be great. But I'll give it a 7 for that.
Okay. So 7. Yeah, seven's a good rating. I'm between a 6 and a 7. Um, it's tough. I'm just trying to think of other games that. I guess for me, I'm gonna go with a 6, but with a lot of potential. Like the game structurally, the game, you know, graphically, um, everything works. Like even the stuff that we complained about, like the basics still work, right? And they're above average. So, uh, so that's hard between a 6 and a 7.
And you know what? It's one of those things where I just kind of wish that
I
something
feel
would
like the
happen.
story is what holds it back for me. I feel
Yeah,
like if it had an even man, if the story was even halfway decent, like if it just had some, because look, I'm like I said, I'll read stuff and I'm but I'm not such a hardcore gamer that I'm gonna go into every game and be like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna if they don't if it doesn't grasp my attention and
right.
the gameplay is already fast paced, right? So I say it's fast paced. You loot a lot and you run and shoot stuff and that happens quick. If you want to get anywhere in a play session on this game, you have to be moving. Like you have to
Yeah.
because there's so much
Yes.
ground to cover. You know what I'm saying? Like it takes a while because we haven't even. There's a lot of the map we haven't even been to, and we've put almost you put over 10 hours. I've put at least 8 in it. So it's one of those things where it's hard to just stop and like read every little quest I get. And to be
Yeah.
honest, I'm just not interested because they didn't grab me from the beginning. You know. Um, so for me, good gameplay, solid gameplay. Graphically, it's fine. It works. It looks. I like the way the robots look. I like the way they sound. And fight them's pretty fun. I like trying to hit their weak points. The AI seems pretty decent, pretty competent right now. Um, the audio is fine. The audio is it's probably probably average or a little bit above average. The gunplay sounds good. Loading in the clip sounds good. Racking around into the chamber sounds pretty good. Um, but those glitches kind of hold that back every now and then. Uh, so yeah, all in all, for me, man, I would probably say 6 out of 10 with Um, if they decide to do a second game, there's a lot that can be done with it. Maybe now that they have the base, and like I said, we haven't finished it, so maybe there's more to the game that we haven't.
Yeah, maybe so.
But I'm just saying, from a 6 to 8, like from 8 hours in, you know, my
Just doesn't seem like it's changing
impressions.
very much.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like a lot of the same. That was another thing that is holding back for me. It's a lot of repetitive. It's just the same formula, same thing over and over
Same
again.
formula except bigger robots and tougher. That's the only
Yeah,
thing that's changing.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and hate to keep harping on this,
And I mean,
but
six is like just for anybody who's maybe watching this and whatever after I post it in the future, a 6 for me is above average. A 6 for me is it's a $20 to $30 game. I would be perfectly fine with telling somebody who likes to play shooters and likes to loot and likes the survival kind of aspect of things and likes playing with friends. I would not recommend playing this by yourself. That's just me. Um, I would be bored if I played this alone, probably. Um, but if you have somebody to play with, $20, sure. I mean, I feel like it's worth $20. So 6 above average. Seems. I feel like that's a pretty good rating. 6 or 7 is
yeah,
fine for this game.
I agree. I agree. And I hate to keep harping, like I was saying earlier, harping about the whole PUBG thing, but it almost seems like the game was made by the same people. Just like they, and that could be an insult to a lot of people, but
Yeah.
PUBG doesn't have a whole lot to it to me,
Well, you know what I
and
was gonna say
it,
earlier, and now that we've
what?
kind of went through that in the review or whatever, I was actually gonna say that if they took this right and put this on a PUBG battle royale format where you dropped in on a big ass map with other players and there was these robots just roaming around randomly and maybe they give you some incentive to try to take them on but make them super tough. Like if you can take one down, you'll get like a special weapon. You have a chance of getting a special weapon or something like that. Imagine a
Yeah,
battle royale game with the mechs in it and other players you're playing against.
that'd be pretty neat.
That would be very interesting if they could balance it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And just make it a strictly first person shooter. Don't make it third person. Just strictly first, just like this game is. Just a big map, big open map, same concept. 100 people, whatever. Put the robots on there. You know, and just have like the little ones and the bigger ones, and of course the bigger ones you destroy. You would have your random loot drops and everything like normal, but then instead of getting like crates, for example, like you do in PUBG, you have to take down robots, and they have percentages of dropping certain types of weapons that you may want, but the robots can like take you out. You know what I'm saying? Like make them really pretty tough.
yeah,
Like where you actually have to think about is it worth the risk. You know.
right.
It'd be interesting, that's for sure. I don't know how well it'd work on paper or how well it'd actually, work in the game, as far as playing and trying to balance it all out and everything. But I think it'd be a pretty cool concept.
I agree. I agree. So you you choose. You say it's a 6 out of 10. I say it's about a 7 out of 10. Um,
Yeah, if I was doing a like a different point system, I'd probably give it like 6.5. That's what I want to give it, but I'm not gonna. My ratings are gonna be. I'm just gonna give it, 1 point. I'm not doing the whole cut points in half crap that a lot of people do. I just feel like it's an
yeah.
above average game. I feel like it would be an average game if like if this game was only single player or something, it would be like an average game or below average for me personally, because
Oh,
I just
definitely.
could not
Cause
play this game by myself. You know what
no,
I'm saying?
there's no
For an
way.
extended period of time. But I mean, I feel feel 6 or 7's fine for this game. That's just my opinion. I
I
feel
agree.
like I wouldn't pay $60 for the game. I feel like this is one of those games that they should put on Game Pass, like you were saying. This is a perfect
Yeah,
game for Game Pass.
it would do perfect on that. And the extra map, I would think it shouldn't be $35. I mean, even the cover art for it looks horrible.
Yeah. And so that's another thing, man. This is just like one of those games that I would not buy. Like even if they had I just feel like this is one of those games. Like if I get too bored, I don't know if I'll finish it completely. You know what I'm saying? Like it just
Yeah.
depends. Like it depends on how the. It's weird because it's like I said before, it's one of those games that I can put down and pick up easily. So like I could put this down for like 2 weeks and pick it back up again. I mean, you could start where we left off and play, and it wouldn't bother
Right.
me, because it's so easy. It's not difficult to figure out. It's not difficult to play. It's not difficult to get the concept of. So it's not like a lot. You don't have to think a lot. You
Yeah.
got there's little things you can do to help, like knowing where to shoot enemies and how manage your inventory better, get
Which
your
is fun. I
skills
mean,
up. And does
at
this
least
seem like it takes a while to get skill points?
yeah. I just now got to like level 10, and
Yeah,
it's yeah. It takes a
it's
while.
kind of grindy, which I guess it's supposed to be. Like I said, we've only done a
I
very
mean,
small
and
part of the
it
map, but
does look like the skill points when you finally get to the using the whole skill tree of skill points. There's some pretty neat stuff towards the bottom. Where
yeah,
you can hack other robots and stuff. But um, gosh, you got to put some hours in.
yeah,
Um, Not a bad game though. I enjoy it. I'm enjoying it. Maybe
yeah. I
that's just
think it's
me. I'm into different games.
nah. I mean, yeah, like I was saying, I think it's definitely worth $17. And honestly,
It,
man,
that
if you're looking at it from like a standpoint of like if you're a person who loves co-op games, this is easily a 7. It's just
Oh
just
yeah,
for that.
easily. Because
Like if
there's
you
not
had
many
four
games like
people,
this
yeah,
where
if
you
you
can
had
play
four
four people
people,
co-op.
exactly.
Survival, loot and shoot. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not just a 60-minute or an hour long game that you just play for a match or something. It's a
yeah.
you build together. So that's different. That's
It's
something that you don't see often.
another issue I have with it is, and I know that they've already tweaked it because it was even worse before now when the first game first released. But another issue that I had with the game is I feel like you get spotted way too easily. Like they give you these, fuel tanks and compressed air tanks and all this stuff, right? These boom boxes to lure enemies to, and yada yada yada. And that actually brings me to another point. But after this point, I'll make my first point first. But so they do all these things. So obviously they want you to utilize, or at least they thought about, having you utilize these explosive devices, EMPs, but you got to set them off by shooting them, right? So you got to
Right.
get close enough to put them down. You got to be close enough to draw an enemy in by throwing, and obviously depending on what kind of noise maker, for lack of a better word, uh, you have, depends on how the range on that thing is. So I feel like they could, if they would shorten that range a little bit more, that would help. Where they can detect you. I feel like they could kind of detect you too early sometimes. Um, but another thing is that it. What was the other point I was going to make? I completely lost my train of thought. Um, Man, I forgot what I was going to say now. I know it was about the. Oh, yeah. And I noticed that whenever you do try to set something up like that, like if you try to, put down a couple tanks, gas tanks, and you want to draw an enemy in, so you throw a boombox right on top of them. I noticed with them big guys that we were trying to do that to early in the game, they wouldn't run all the way up to it. Like they would be
Oh no.
standing just out of range. And you needed, like literally needed them just like 2 steps closer would have been perfect. Or I felt maybe it was still doing damage to them, but I feel like it wasn't doing the damage it would have done if they were standing directly on top of it. So if they would change that, where they would just run right up to it, because you can't really predict. Like even if you try to like say, okay, I'm going to put the gas tank here, I'm going to put the boombox a little bit behind it because I know he's not going to come all the way up to the boombox, and that'll negate. That'll make up the difference so the tank will be closer to them. Well, the problem
Right.
is you don't know which way they're going to run, because if you notice some big guys like that, the kind of fast, bigger dudes, they run.
Yeah.
They don't run straight at something. They run at an angle,
Right.
and you have no idea how to predict what angle they're going to run at. So even if you try to do something like that, it's not necessarily going to work out. So that's kind of a weird thing that I noticed immediately. Like the first 2 times we did it, I was like, well, this is kind of pointless. Like
Yeah, because
it's not worth
even on
the
the middle
effort
of
you're putting in. You know what I'm saying? Because
even
you don't
in
even.
the middle of the road, they ran like in the woods. They wouldn't even go straight to
Yep.
the middle of the road. Like you would think when they were already on the road.
Yep. And that's
Um,
fine. Like if they do that and they see you, like okay, they're smart enough to know that you just put a tank down, and they're not going to run up to it. But like if you lay out that boom box, I mean, what's the point of having the box? Like the whole
right?
point is
They're
to.
robots. I mean, they should be.
Yeah, well, the whole point of the developers giving you those things is so you can make a trap. But if you if you lure something in and it stands just outside the blast radius, the trap's not very effective. So that kind of annoyed me. But
And the whole concept of it is just a
yeah,
waste.
there's really no reason to have it. I mean, I can't see a situation where I mean, sometimes we get a little overwhelmed, but I mean, for the most part, we don't need any of that. If we got the rocket
Right.
launcher and that badass SMG that I have, and we got snipers, and I mean, me and you figured out okay, the best thing to do, really, honestly, on the big guys is spread out. Don't be bunched
Yeah.
up together. The smaller guys, it's okay to stay bunched up. You need to be there in case the other one needs help. But for the big guys, you want to be split up, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. For the biggest guys, they gotta because they're gonna choose a target, and it's best to be split on those. So at least one can be running while the other is dealing the damage.
Yep.
Um, really good hard hitting points. So definitely, as far as the
Those are
system they
just the.
put in place is
Mm-hmm.
really glitchy and it's almost a waste. And we're playing co-op. We're playing two people. You can play up to four people on this game, and we're blasting through it pretty hard with just two people. I couldn't imagine having four people. It would almost be overkill. It's almost like I wonder if they would make the game harder if you do put in four
Yeah,
people.
I'm not sure, but they may have. I know a lot of games have. I know a lot of games have done that. That like the more people that load in or loaded in, the enemies get a little bit tougher. Basically, they make up for that difference. You know, because you got more
Yeah.
people. I don't know if this game does it. I have no idea. But if it doesn't, then it'd be way too easy. I mean, I
Right.
guess you could always manually turn up the difficulty, but usually, I mean, that should do that automatically for you. It probably has some kind of system. And I mean, maybe later in the game, it does get a lot more difficult. But so far, it really hasn't been that bad with two people.
One of the other things I did appreciate on the game was the fact of having different styles of ammo and attachments that you didn't just have to have regular ammo. You could like the shotgun, it could have bird shot or slug shot or just buckshot. I
Yeah,
mean, there was
that's
so many
pretty
different
neat.
types that you could put on. Armor piercing rounds, not just. And I suppose you
Full
pretty
metal
much kind of
jackets, hollow points.
a child's not gonna understand this game because
Yeah. Well, they're
they're
not
not
going to
gonna understand
understand the
concept
that's
of
a
a
little
gun,
bit. Yeah,
whatever guns to take.
they put some complexity into your ammo thoughts. But it's funny that you say that because honestly, man, and this is another issue I have. It's not really an issue because I don't know if there's another way they could have done it, but I don't ever really think about it. Like I know that the soft points, for example, do more damage to critical parts on a enemy, and the hard points or the full metal jackets do less damage to the critical point, but they puncture through the armor better. So
Right.
basically, like on my sniper, I'm always using soft points because I'm always going for the critical shot anyway. But honestly, if I had a different round in, it wouldn't really matter to me. Like I
Right.
appreciate that option's in there, but I don't know how much it would matter to me personally.
It's
You know,
almost kind of
and
a
and and,
it
and
kind of
the
it's
only
kind of a
reason,
drag also
yeah, and the
because
only reason, well, the problem is that you can't swap on the fly, right? So if you're in a fight,
all right.
you can't just hit a button and then all of a sudden he takes out that magazine, and throws in a full metal jacket magazine. If you could do that, that'd be nice, you know,
Right.
because you could kind of,
And also
you could take the first shot with a perfect critical, and
right.
and then after that you're like, well, I'm never going to hit a critical again. Let me swap these full metal jackets while I still have my sniper out and get a few more shots off. Then swap to my SMG or my assault rifle that's already got full metal jackets in it because I'm not worried about hitting criticals with SMG or assault rifle anyway. You know.
Right.
But yeah,
That and
I agree. I mean, I do like the
take it
concept. It's pretty
also
neat.
does. It's a neat concept, but it also does take up space in your inventory. Annoying, especially if you don't use it.
Yeah, and I don't know why the way that their ammo is bundled is weird. Have you noticed that if you have like 150 rounds, right? Say you have 150 rounds attached to your gun, or okay, say you have okay, yeah, say you have 150 rounds attached to your gun, to your pistol, and then
Okay.
you go to the same ammo type, not a different ammo type, same ammo type that's like 27 rounds, and you attach that to your pistol, it pulls out the 150. So then I was thinking, well, maybe 150 or whatever is the max, right? Well, I tried swapping the 27 rounds out for the like 50 rounds I had, and it swapped them. It didn't combine them for some reason. Now,
Right.
unless I missed something, maybe you are supposed to kind of like in Resident Evil, you pick up the item, you hit X, you move it over on top of the one you want to combine it, and then it lets you combine. Maybe I didn't, because I never tried that. Maybe that's what you're supposed to do.
You can do that. Yes.
Okay, that's what it was then.
Um,
I never did try that.
can be a little finicky though, but it does work. All in all, decent game. Give it a shot. Hope it comes to Game Pass because that's the only way this game is going to get any credit.
Yeah. I remember people like streaming it when it first came out, and some of the big streamers streamed it, but I think that's when it was having some of the issues it was having. But it really is one of those games that's kind of like a pleasant surprise. You're not really looking for it. It's kind of like open up a present and and you get it, and you're like, oh, this is nice, but you're not really sure, because it's like just something weird, and you're like, oh, I'm not gonna use it. But then when you get home and you actually put it to use, you're like, oh wow, this is this is actually pretty useful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's one of those games where it's like you get it, and because I was iffy on it, like when you got it, I was like, I don't know. But then when I played it, I was like, it's okay. And the more I played it, I realized, this isn't a bad game. It's really not. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of I would like to see other players run around the map. I would like that option. I would like the option to
Right.
be able to like flip a switch on the game and then turn on or off to see other teams. And I don't even want to like fight the teams. I just think it'd be cool to see them. Just make the world feel a
Right.
little more alive, or put NPCs in it. I
I
understand
would be
maybe
happy
that they
with a
decided
few
not to do NPCs
NPCs.
on this one, but
It bothers me.
it does me too. It just feels very, very empty. And I feel like
So empty.
I just feel like yeah, the machines are here. Skynet's arrived, right? Kind of thing, like Terminator shit. But there would be people surviving. You know what I'm saying? And maybe there are. Maybe we haven't got to them. But something tells me 8 hours in, dude. If we haven't seen an NPC, we're probably at a live NPC. The chances of us seeing a live NPC until the very end of the game are slim.
Very slim.
Yes,
Very
I
slim.
don't. I don't think there are any because if you're waiting to have like a big reveal, 20 hours in, there's an NPC. It's like it's too late, man. You probably lost like half your players at that point. So
That and it could be such a shock running into this character. You're just gonna be like, if they ruin this character,
yeah,
it could,
yeah,
it could be a terrible character. I mean, like you come up to and it just didn't do a good job on it. And, I just,
I
I mean,
really feel
honestly,
like this
I
game
would put,
needed a little more time. I feel like they probably just pushed it out too early. I don't know how long they
I'm
worked
gonna
on it,
say,
but I feel like, and maybe I don't know. It almost just feels like they just like kind of like John's got this idea, right? It's kind of cool, like machines have kind of taken over in the 80s. Everybody likes Stranger Things right now. Get some cool guns in there. Let people play together. I mean, who doesn't like a co-op game, right? And then after that, they were just kind of like, it's like as far as they got.
yeah,
Like,
just
that's as far as the drawing board went, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh shit, this is actually happening," and they're putting it on the shelves. So it But all that being said, with all the negative things, it's really not. It's not a bad game. It's not a bad. I could see where some people wouldn't like it. I could see where some people would get bored with it pretty quick. Um, because the progression's slow. Like I mean, shit, dude. It took us what 8 hours to get level 3 gear, basically. So,
Right.
I mean, and there's probably only like, well, there's 6 levels because that pink gun that I have is 6 crowns. So there's 6 levels.
It is kind of weird how you could go straight from having worn gear to
Yeah, we
overly the
jumped.
top. You
Yeah,
know, it's like the game didn't want you to do that. It wanted you to sidestep away from those machines. But at the same time, they gave you the equipment to do it. So
yeah.
I don't understand.
I feel like it. I feel like it's all map based. I feel like depending on what part of the map you're on. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
One
like
one of two things. It's
we
either
probably weren't
map
supposed to
based.
jump ahead.
Well, I don't think we jumped though, man. I really don't. I don't think there was anything left to do on that first little island. I mean, I was looking, and there wasn't very many structures left that we hadn't been to, like on the map. I think what it is, I don't even know if it's necessarily map based. I think it may be level based, possibly. So, like, once you hit a certain level, it has a better chance of dropping, blue stuff, or more chance of dropping green stuff. That's a possibility. Or the other possibility of it's map based. You know, um, I'm leaning towards level, but I don't know. I'm just guessing because a lot of games do that. A lot of games do a level based system. Like, as you level, your percentages of getting higher and higher stuff increase, and that's how you naturally start getting higher gear to match the level that you're on. Um, but I really don't know. So, but it definitely felt map based because as soon as we went north or whatever and we crossed over there is when we started getting all that gear. The only time I got a high level gun was whenever we beat that boss or whatever he was, the first big
Yeah,
big stomp guy that we beat that first time.
yeah, and those guys aren't easy either. I mean, I did die a few times. If we hadn't been saving up all our stuff,
Yeah, we got plenty of health packs and stuff, plenty of rockets. Yeah,
um,
it's definitely a game about understand. You have to understand to loot and what you need to keep and what you need to put in your in the storage. Like it's you can tell they if you don't like inventory style games where you have to kind of think about what you're going to need to take out this time and what you want to travel with and how you want to play, you may that could aggravate you some. But I mean, most games have. I would say the inventory system is a little bit higher than basic. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not overly
yeah,
complex, but it's more than what some people may want to deal with.
yeah, it is starting to bother me. I'm ready to get the next level of space in that inventory. Like they don't explain any of that how to get
Yeah,
more space on the
I'm
inventory.
assuming that's a skill.
It probably could be. You're probably right.
That's the only thing
I
I
should
could
look
think
into that.
because you know, you can hold a pretty good bit, but once you start carrying like a rocket launcher or whatever else you're trying to carry, it'll run out pretty quick too at the same time. So I just assumed that it was a skill later on that you get and it just unlocks, you know, a certain amount. There's probably like multiple levels to the same skill or something. There's probably like 3 levels to one skill. But I don't know. I didn't look at all of them. So it seems like the skill stuff is we didn't really talk about it, but what do you think about the skill tree? Do you think it
It
matters a lot?
it does.
Because I feel like we haven't
It's
leveled
just
enough to really utilize a whole lot.
my character's getting close. I've been working on that right side a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But after you get past the first 4 tiers on any section, it really starts to benefit. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, there is a lot. After you get past 4 tiers on any section, it will benefit. But there's just there is a lot in there. It just takes so long to do to it.
Yeah, it does.
I
I
just don't know
realized
how well it's
too that
gonna
the
work
main mission,
either.
the main missions, I think, give you a bunch of XP. I noticed that uh, New Year's Day whenever we were playing. That a couple times we finished the main mission. It seemed like we got a. It's like almost every time I leveled. You know what I mean? Whereas
Yeah.
like encounters don't give you quite as much. You don't get as much for fighting, killing stuff. But I did put points into the extra XP boost skill set, so I have been getting a little extra XP.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's where we'll end it. I feel like we pretty much went over that
Covered it
game.
pretty
Is
well.
Yeah, really talked about everything I could think of. I can't.
I feel as though we'll play it some more.
Yeah, I'll play.
I don't
I'll
know how
definitely play
much
some more.
more. I definitely keep playing it. I do hope for it to change. I hope there's some more key factors that'll change in this game.
Yeah.
I do hope.
Well, like I was saying before, the one thing nice about it is it is a easy game to pick up. It's an easy game to just sit back, chill, if you know what you're doing. You know, if you already know how to take everything out or whatever, or you know, the stuff you fought before, you're not gonna like be all tense and everything anymore. Like you can kind of sit back and just play the game. Like you don't have to, you know, you don't have to be stressed out the whole time while you're playing. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like some games, you have to be kind of, oh, you know, too focused in. It's a good game to pick up and play with a buddy, and just chill, relax, shoot some robots, and run around and loot stuff. That's pretty much what the game is.
I definitely say that we'll probably well, I'll definitely keep playing at least till I get to play all the robots at least.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure we're gonna put
'Cause
some more time into it.
Yeah,
But
that's all you got. I think that about wraps it up. It was a
yeah, that was a pretty good one.
left anything untouched.
Be our first kind of podcast style review video. And I look terrible, by the way, right now. I'm like, it's like, it's like 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
I don't have my hat on. My
So-
hair is going crazy, but I don't care. It's fine.
Better,
I'll
better
upload
you
it
than
anyway.
me.
Yeah. But this was actually fun, dude. We're gonna have to do this more often
Oh yeah, definitely.
some
We'll have to review
games
a few
and
different
just-
games.
and just talk about them. It's fun to actually play a game and then hear somebody else's thoughts on it that's been playing it too. You know, it's fun to do that. So we'll definitely have to do it again. But I guess for this video, that's going to be it for us, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. If you like the content, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be trying to do these more often. And we may try to do them in a different format, you know, where we actually have both of us in the room with a camera. And, you know, do it that way if we can. But, yeah, if you'd like to see that, comment below. And like I said, like, subscribe to the channel. And you guys have a great night. Thanks for watching.